going on, everybody? It's been a while since I made a video, but I got some time. So today is election day, and today is historically the day that we vote and find out who's going to be our next president of the United States. Now, I'm not sure if we're going to find out who wins tonight, just because of other factors with mail-in voting and things of that nature. But I think that what I really want to focus on tonight has more to do with us as American citizens, not so much with who's going to win, because whoever's going to win is going to win. Like at this point, everyone has kind of already made up their mind of who they want to vote for, so the results are going to be what they are. But I think that as American citizens, we have a responsibility as well. When we look at this time of year, you're always inundated with all kinds of commercials, political commercials, one bashing the other, and all those kinds of things. That isn't new, right? I think what is new, at least is new to me. Like I'm only 38 years old. I think what's new to me is the level of division within the country that we're experiencing right now. I have voted in 6, including this one, 6 elections, starting back with George W. Bush's first term. And since that time, I don't remember this country being as divided on so many issues, on like fundamental issues, as it is now. Now, obviously, the country has been divided before and much more. We fought a whole civil war, but in my lifetime, I don't think it's been this divided before. And so with that, I just had a few thoughts. Starting off, the first thought, it's really just because someone has a different opinion than you, just because they have a different political party affiliation than you, does not mean that that person is the enemy. I think that is a fundamental error in where we are today in America. We have been convinced by one party or the other party, or by both parties, essentially, and not only just by parties, but by people, that if I'm a Democrat and you're a Republican, then we're automatically enemies. If I'm a liberal and you're a conservative, then we're automatically enemies. If I'm from the city and you're from a rural area, then we're automatically enemies. If we're of different ethnicities, then we're automatically enemies, right? We have to remember that this country is large, and this country is made up of diverse groups of people. We are broken up into people from the city, people from the suburbs, people from the rural areas. We're broken up into Northeast and Atlantic Coast and Southeast, or the South and Southwest and Midwest and the West and the Northwest. We're broken up into different ethnic groups, and we're broken up in rich and poor and middle class. We are broken up into so many different factions that our experiences in this country are different, right? And so our values are naturally going to be different. We're going to see things differently. We're going to naturally see things differently based on where we come from, based on our experiences, based on what we've been taught. I think that what we've lost is we've lost the ability to sit down, have a conversation with someone with a different opinion, and instead of going on the attack mode and saying you're wrong, you're evil, you're the enemy now, and saying, okay, let me hear what you have to say, so that way I can understand what it's founded in. Because oftentimes what you find is that someone who has a different opinion than you actually has a differing opinion that makes sense in some ways, right? You can understand how they arrived at that opinion, and vice versa. That other person can understand how you arrived at your opinion if you actually sit down and have a conversation. I think we need to get back to that, not as political figures. That needs to be done by the American public, right? The American citizens, when we sit down with each other, and we say, let's have a conversation about how you see this country, how you see the world, how I see the country, how I see the world, and how can we move forward? How can we move forward that way? That's really the only way to get out of this, because we have to understand the way that our political system works, our political party system works. We have 2 major parties. Those parties want to remain in power. The way to remain in power is to create voting blocks. And the way to create voting blocks is to break people up into tribes and say, hey, you guys over here, I'm on your side and they are against you. They hate you. You guys over here, I'm on your side and they hate you. when you do that, and when you convince people that people with different opinions hate them, you're really able to create a situation where you get loyalty through division. So people are loyal to their political parties, but the avenue to that for that loyalty is division, instead of actual engagement or actual advocacy. It's division. It's all right. I pit these Americans against those Americans, and based on me pitting those Americans against each other, here is my group of people that I can always depend on to vote for me and to keep me in power. And we as the American citizens have to break that up. They're not going to do that on their own. We have to be able to sit down and say, all right, I understand that what you believe is not going to make me completely comfortable, and what I believe is not going to make you completely comfortable. But let's have a sit down conversation and find out where we can find a happy middle ground, or where we can even just find understanding. It doesn't even have to be a middle ground, but can we find some understanding and some empathy for one another? And if we can do that, then I think that as a country, then we can get back on track. The last thought I have is this: no matter who wins tonight, no matter who is elected president of the United States, the presidency does not have anything to do with your individual responsibility for your own life. I understand policies affect us in one way or another. No candidate can stop you from pursuing your life's goals. No candidate can stop you from growing and maturing as a man or as a woman. No candidate can stop you from living your life. I think we also get caught up in that. The way that things are framed as far as politics is that one candidate or the other candidate will be the end all be all. It's either going to be the end of America as we know it, or the beginning of American bliss, right? And the reality of it is that neither one of those things are true for any candidate. It's up to us. If you want to have a great life, then you can go out there and make it happen, right? If you want to have a life where you're getting along with your neighbors, then get out there and get to know your neighbors and get along. If you have the desire to open up a business, then get out there and find out how to open up a business. Whatever the goal is, you want to have a great family, then have a great family. Neither candidate can stop you from doing any of those things. And so while I understand that the presidency is an important role, and that policy is very important in our country, ultimately, you living your life to the best of your ability is on you. And if we keep these two things really in our minds, that a differing opinion is not equal enemy, and that no matter who the candidate is that wins, your life is still your own, then I think that we'll be able to take a step back and realize, you know what? While I differ with you, while we see things differently, I'm not going to allow a system to make another American my enemy. I'm not going to allow a system to force feed me propaganda. I'm not going to allow a system to make me believe things about people that I've never even met before. Make me hate people that I've never even met before, that I don't even know, or lose loved ones that I used to love. I've heard stories of families, separating. I've heard stories of friendships ending. I've heard stories of towns, split down the middle. And the question is, well, what happened to the conversation, right? What happened to the civility? What happened to the empathy? What happened to sitting down and getting to know each other? So that way we're not depending on a news channel or a politician to tell me about my neighbor. But I know my neighbor personally. I know my neighbor, through conversation, to the point where we're going to disagree, but we're still going to get along, right? We're still going to keep moving forward. I have friends and people that I know like that who we have different political persuasions, but when we get together, we still have a good time. When we get together, we can still hug it up. We can still laugh it up, because we understand that no matter what, our life is still our own. So with that being said, hopefully you guys are, staying safe, and hopefully you guys voted. And then we'll see what happens in this election.